That poor little dog in there.
Oh yeah, she's
That's
all
20 pounds. That's 20 pounds of absolute fury.
probably pretty mad at you for being out here and not coming in and giving her a treat or something too.
Well, see, that's the one that's attached to me. So he's really mad because I came back and I didn't come in. But if I go in, he's going to get mad if I leave right away again too.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
But he'll be okay. I'll be back before long, and we'll hang out till I have to go down to Elberton and give away a blanket.
Yeah, that's coming up, dude.
Speaking of your spouse and her kind.
Yeah, I've got some money on that blanket myself, so I wouldn't have if she hadn't have said, "Give me $20." Here, putting your name on these tickets. Okay, honey.
Sure, here it is.
Yeah,
here it goes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. She's good that way.
Well, I'm glad she works with us at Hope. She's a good volunteer.
Oh yeah.
Barb Newman is a good volunteer. There's some really good people that work for that. There's good people that do that food ministry over at Concord. And one of the things that's great about being in a rural area, and it's still either drive you crazy or you'll love it. And there is no anonymity. You can't live anonymously in a community like this without a lot of effort, because everybody here is going to want to know you. They want to know who their neighbors are. They want to know who people are, but they're also genuinely interested in you. And you know, with what Amy and I just went through with Thomas, you find out what that means when all these people show up with food.
Yeah.
And all these people show up and ask what they can do. And you know, even in this case, when I was dealing with the funeral home, he told me that the bill was going to get paid for. Because that's who these people are. And they are, I guess if you had a certain bend of mind, you would think they were nosy. But I look at it as something else. I look at it as they care. Because I believe they do. And Hope is like that. We try to do stuff for neighbors we've not met yet. So Trish is from Maine. Where were you from originally?
She's originally from Cape Cod.
Oh.
She is. It's amazing to think about.
She's a New Englander.
Well, I mean, it's that island up there where all the presidents and everybody go. Nantucket.
Yeah.
Nantucket. So she's like 2 blocks from the ferry. Goes out to Nantucket. She's like 2 blocks from the ocean. She grew up like running down and jumping in the ocean. Her dad had a boat, and
all of that, yeah.
a boat with an engine inside, a wooden boat, and she's, her and her brother would be out sitting on the nose of that boat, and he'd be out going through the waves. That's how she grew up. I mean, nowadays if you can go to freaking Nantucket, you gotta be rich or a movie star or something like that.
Right.
She just grew up like, yeah, that's just where we live, North Valley.
I was just
admire that so much.
She was native.
But anyway, I moved mainly. I told you the story driving the truck. I got up
Yeah.
and knocked up some lady who
Yeah, there is a very crazy preacher that preaches there. There is nothing in the world that sounds as good
Well, you ain't heard that other one yet.
as an overhead valve V8 American engine. Saw they took that Camaro to Le Mans this year.
Huh?
You saw that they took that NASCAR Camaro to Le Mans this year and ran that thing.
The building fell down.
Yeah,
It just fell down. It was there.
you know, these storms we've had lately have been crazy.
Yeah.
I bet that's what took it down.
Probably was. You talking about NASCAR?
Yeah, I'm a fan of old NASCAR, not new NASCAR.
Yeah, I don't keep up with it. I don't know what anybody does there now anymore. I used to race. You know, I told you about my wife, my other wife, the other wife I had after I had the first wife. Her boy. I'm gonna tell you that story. You know, we started racing. We raced for 10 years. There was one night when his buddy came over, and his buddy said, you know, me and these other guys are going to go out. You want to come with us? He says, no, I can't come out with y'all. I got to work on the race car. I'm racing tomorrow. Well, Nicky went with us to the racetrack, and Alan went out with these boys, and they killed a man and threw him in the Flores trying to rob him. Alan did 20 years in prison, and Nicky learned how to weld and grew up to be a metal worker. The race car driving saved his life.
Changed his life,
Well, that saved his life too, but I don't know.
changed the direction of it and saved it.
I don't know if he'd have lived through being in prison. Alan did, but he was a knucklehead anyway. You know? Nicky was kind of gentle. He wasn't like that, so I'm glad I got him out of there. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that since I did talk about racing and we was talking about racing. But
Dirt track cars,
old-fashioned round track racing back in the, I guess this was in the 80s. Man,
Yeah.
That was so fun. A lot of fun.
well, I grew up in the part of North Carolina that was part of NASCAR country.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Wilkesboro, which is next to North Wilkesboro, which is the track they brought back after it had been closed for years. Weirdest track in NASCAR, it's 5/8 of a mile.
Okay.
Not a half mile,
Yeah.
not 3/4, not a mile, 5/8.
Huh.
And to save money on building it, because there's going to have to put a bunch of money into grading, they didn't make it flat. So one of the straights runs downhill and one runs uphill.
Wow. I bet that's interesting.
Car setup is a big deal.
Well, it would have to be because, you know, a lot of times on the circle tracks, you only run in second gear anyway.
Right.
Once you get it going. So, I mean, if you're going uphill and downhill, that's bound to change the dynamics.
Oh, it changed everything.
We had two tracks. We had Unity Raceway, which just started out as an old horse track, but then we had another track that was a little bigger and a lot flatter. You had to run two different rear ends to run those two tracks because
Yeah.
everything, like you say, everything's different.
Everything changes.
And Nicky used to swap the rear end out, swap the ring and pinion gears out in our race cars. You know, we race on Saturday night at Unity, and then Sunday up down at Wisconsin, he'd have to swap the rear end out overnight. If he wanted to race there, I didn't like running that track because I thought it was boring, big flat track.
Yeah.
Nobody ever had a crash up in Unity. They couldn't get in 5 laps in a row without somebody crashing. You know. And that's what people go to the races for anyway. Well, the fans go for the crashes, and the drivers go for the fights in the pit. You know?
You're right. Yeah, don't think it has anything to do straight four,
Yeah, we had a mini stock class with Pintos and little Mercuries and all that.
and just run the stink out of them.
Yeah, they was quick little cars.
And you know, on a little short dirt track,
Yeah.
you can basically run those flat out all the time.
Well, up in Maine, they raced Saabs. There was a lot of Saabs in
Oh
Maine.
yeah,
And they raced them little Saabs with the little when they were
V4 two-stroke engines. Yeah.
And then they went from that, when they went to the mini stocks, everybody was running the Pintos, and the
Yeah.
Mercury had a little Mercury something that was just a Pinto on a different skin.